Let's get physical. How are you doing, guys? It's Jordan here, and welcome to the first episode of a new compilation series that we're doing, or at least trying out. You guys all know Physicals, our weekly series. We cover all the weekly physical releases, the Western releases, low prints, and imports, while some bright sparks in the comments and the Discord asked if we could do a compilation series at the end of each month, especially for imports so they could keep track. And I thought, oh god, more work. But then I thought, hang on, that is a banging idea. So here we are, all the import physicals for March, the episodes spliced together in an unconvincing and lazy way, all because we love you. It's April 1st, so you're wondering if I'm joking or not. Me too. Alright, let's get on with it. Here are all the March imports in a nice handy recap. Doraemon, Nobita's new dinosaur, is releasing in Japan on the 5th. This looks set to be a cheap action-adventure game aimed at kids, as Doraemon and his pals journey back 66 million years to the past to find some dinosaurs. I don't believe there's any English on this one. Neo Atlas is getting a reprint in Japan, this time bundled with a guidebook and under the Best Choice label. I do believe this does have English on the cartridge, although there is a Western release, so it's not particularly important. Not that I've ever actually seen anyone with a Western release of this game. I don't think anybody sent that in for the community spotlight or not. I don't know, I could be wrong. But anyways, this is out on the 5th of March. KISHI FUJII SOUTA no Shogi training is, unsurprisingly, a training game for the traditional Japanese game Shogi. It's also starring a professional Shogi player, KISHI FUJII. No English, as you can probably expect from this one. Human Resource Machine may be one of the most belated retail releases in history. What was basically a launch title for the Switch's eShop is getting a physical release in Japan just now. This is a game for those fans of puzzle games and programming problems. Having played this myself, I can attest that I'm just too dumb for this one, but it does have an appeal to a niche audience. English should be on board, and also, by the way, it seems to include the game's sequel, 7 Billion Humans. March 12th for this. Bookbound Brigade is a fine Metroidvania-style game featuring many historical figures banding together to unlock new abilities. This flew under the radar when it released digitally not long ago. We reviewed it and gave it a nice, solid recommendation. But many people didn't check that out, so be sure to do so to see if this is up your alley or not. NANPURE 10,000 plus Puzzle no MADO is a quad pack of puzzle games, a bit of Picross, a bit of Sudoku and some other stuff. I know for a fact that 3 of these games at least have English on the cartridge, although I'm not entirely sure about the one with a big focus on Japanese characters. Sadly, we missed this one from our big import video, but we'll be sure to add it in when we update it next time. Winning Post 9 2020 is yet another entry in the long-running Japanese series. It's part of Koei Tecmo's horse racing game series, sister series to something you may be slightly more familiar with, G1 Jockey, which I remember seeing back in the day on the PS2. Anyways, that series is more about racing, while this one, Winning Post, is a series more about the management side of things. Sadly, as curious as I am about this one, there's no English in this release. Winning Post 9 releases on March 12th. Collar Cross Malice is getting a standard edition as well as a collector's edition this week in Japan. This is a visual novel that I don't believe has English. The collector's edition includes a book of short stories as well as an acrylic stand. I don't know why, but they seem to be becoming more and more popular. Towaware No Palm Refrain Deluxe is a Notami visual novel that comes in both a standard edition as well as a collector's edition. No English on this as far as I'm aware. Only interesting thing about this one is that it's being published by Capcom, not their usual sort of game. Just remember, guys, that all the games here today, if any of them take your fancy and you want to import them, well, you can do so and support the SwitchWatch team at the same time. Links are below for all the stuff mentioned here today, and if you use our links, we will get a return on each purchase, which massively helps us out. Plus, don't forget that when you check out, you can use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV to get 5% off your order. Yes, SwitchWatchTV to get 5% off your order. We made it! Thank you. Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3. This is a very well received JRPG that released previously on the PS4 and is hotly anticipated on the Switch, I'm sure. It is due for a Western release on the Switch physically too, so you will probably want to wait for that, especially since the Japanese release does not have English. SeaBed, a visual novel coming thanks to East Asia Soft and exclusively sold by Play Asia. I guess this counts as an import at the same time, but yes, this is a mystery visual novel and probably going to be popular, starring 3 girls, 2 of whom are former lovers as they try to answer why they are drifting apart, or something like that. There are 2 versions, the standard edition as well as a sweet looking collector's edition which includes a manual, a soundtrack, postcard set and certificate. Links are below as to where it can be found and purchased for yourself. Remember, all Play Asia exclusives ship for free. Okay, on March 26th, we've got a bit of a beast in our midst. We've got Taito's Space Invaders Invincible collection. While it's not immediately clear, I do believe the Collector's Edition gets 3 more games than the Standard Edition. And there's also an Ultra Deluxe Collector's Edition. It's kind of confusing, but bear with me. The Standard Edition has 8 games, while the Collector's Edition also has Space Invaders DX, Space Cyclone, and Lunar Rescue. Plus, you get a proper board game, which is different to the previous Space Invaders board game. You also get an official art book, a pouch, and 5 instruction cards. Then the Ultra Super Duper Robbing You Blind edition includes the previously mentioned stuff, plus a set of 6 premium Space Invaders plates in a luxury box. It is worth noting that the Japanese eShop listing says there is no English on this one, which is a bummer, but then again, it's Space Invaders, guys, and what is there to read? Will this get a Western release? It's entirely possible. Dispatch Games, who have been in a bit of bother recently, and Strictly Limited Games have worked with Taito before to bring over some releases to the West physically, so I think it's more of a matter of time than anything else, but if you want to pick it up with all the extra goodies in this one, then I think an import is the probable way to go, considering both the companies I just mentioned aren't exactly the most reliable these days. Revenge of Justice is a fittingly generic title for Kemco's new game. Yes, in partnership with City Connection, this is the latest release from the kings of budget RPGs. However, compared to their previous efforts, it looks like the budget has stepped up a little bit for this one. This time they're going for a strategy RPG. Sadly, unlike most of Kemco's other titles, English is missing from this release. The legendary indie hero Shovel Knight is getting a belated physical release in Japan this week, courtesy of Fly High Works. Obviously, there's no need to import this one unless you actually live in Japan, as it already has a worldwide release. Still, an excellent package, well worth the money. KOTOBA no Puzzle MOJI PITTAN ENCORE is unsurprisingly a puzzle game released back in 2001 and then remade for the WiiWare, of which this version is based, I think. You have 800 puzzles based on words, Japanese words too, so no English, and probably never will have. One Print Games are selling some of their Kero Blaster stock over on Play Asia, just like their It'll Do set that's releasing this week. You can also get your hands on this collector's edition that has the same sort of things, including a keychain and soundtrack CD. PIKA Nurse Monogatari SHOUNIKA wa ITSUMO OOSAWAGI for Nintendo Switch is releasing on April 2nd. The product description states that this is a simulation game where the player works at a pediatric ward of a general hospital. From nursing outpatients to hospitalized children and newborns, you will have to handle various tasks. Cool. Sadly, there's no English. As discussed a few episodes back, most people were happy to include a little bit of non-physical game stuff in here once in a while, such as soundtracks, books, and toys and such. So let's move on to these miscellaneous section, as there are some things that I'm fanboying over and want to share with you, whether you like it or not. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming. I am well excited. I even bought a Final Fantasy VII machine in anticipation. And to celebrate, there's all sorts of Final Fantasy VII stuff going up for order. The most relevant to the Switch, however, are these polygon figurines. Holy crap, I want them. Why are they so expensive? Anyways, you get 8 in a box, although the wording seems kind of weird, as though you're not always guaranteed to not get repeats, which is strange. I don't know, maybe it's a Japanese thing. Either way, holy cow, do I need my Polygon Red 13. Anyways, there's loads of Final Fantasy VII stuff going around, but this was the most relevant to the Switch since, the Polygon bad boys are actually on the Switch. I've linked below to some other cool stuff that you can check out for Final Fantasy VII, like the soundtrack and stuff. I daren't keep looking, otherwise, I'm going to be very poor at the end of it. You guys know that I love video game music, hence why I'm always happy when there's a soundtrack CD included in collector's editions. I absolutely adore music. Well, I like it so much that I'm going to shove some music down your throat, whether you like it or not, because this week on the 18th, Japan is receiving an absolutely lovely 4-CD soundtrack of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. This includes the original Game Boy soundtrack and the soundtrack of the remake, all together in one delicious set. Yes, I had no idea both had so much music. If you want it for yourself, perhaps you're as passionate about music as I am, then there are links below if you want to order this one too. As a little bonus for these monthly roundups, if you actually want them of course, we're going to add in a little extra or two that we may have missed. This month I missed out on telling you guys about this wonderful Mega Man CD soundtrack set. Yes, in celebration of the recent release of Mega Man Zero and ZX Collection, we also got this magnificent set of CDs. Now I've said I'm not the biggest fan of Mega Man, but that is just in the gameplay. I love the music, and my god does 6 CDs, one for each game in the collection, sound just lovely. Over 200 pieces of music, and I'm well jealous of anyone who has the dosh for this. Alright guys, that was this month's roundup. Would you like to see this every month? Do let us know, your comments mean more than you realize. Alright, now perhaps head over to binge watch a playlist of physicals and wind a couple of reviews that are my monthly recommendations. I'd go for Shinsekai as well as the hidden gem Operencia. We'll see you guys over there, take care.